What is going on, guys? I am Septimus here, George, the coach of your San Francisco Arcaniners, here to bring you my Season 6 Week 12 match of the GBA versus the Tampa Bay Luxrays, or Mono 2E. Now, this is a very important match. Why? Because while we did clinch a playoff spot, we did not clinch number 1 in our division. Now, the person who is trying to take that from us is, in fact, Mono 2E. Now, Mono is also in a situation where if he does not win this game, he has a very strong chance of not making playoffs. So, very important for him. It's important for me in the sense of I want to be number 1 in the division, and I'm going to explain how I can be number 1 after this battle. So, I believe I am 1 differential point ahead of him, and as well as I have 1 more win than him. So, he needs to win this game, and if it's a 1-0 in his favor, I believe then it would come down to some weird tiebreaker that I don't even know, to be honest. But I think we could possibly still be ahead of that. And 0-0 is the only other way I could be number 1 if I lose this game. So that's what we're going to play to see. And of course, in the end, if we win, obviously we're number 1 in the division. So let's just aim to win. That's the main goal here, guys. So if you want to check out Mono 2E, he's a fantastic battler. He's a fantastic player. His link is in the description below. But without further ado, let me get right on into the game. And if you guys have not checked out my team, I do have a team builder posted yesterday, and that link is also in the description below. And I know you guys love the Mirror B music, so that's why I'm playing Mirror B music, because Mirror B music is actually the greatest thing in the world, and you all know that too. But anyway, he has a Bronzong, Manectric, Garchomp, Hitmonchan, Piloswine, and a Azumarill. Now, I expected 4 of the 6 Pokemon, but Piloswine I knew he had, but I didn't expect it. And then I see the Hitmonchan, and for some reason in my prep, I didn't even see Hitmonchan. At the time, I didn't see it. I didn't prep for it at all. So I see it brought, and I get really scared because my defensive walls are meant for Garchomp and Azumarill. They're not made for dealing with Hitmonchan, and it actually runs through my entire team very easily. So I'm very scared of that Pokemon. But anyways, leads on his end. Maybe the Garchomp, maybe Piloswine, maybe Manectric. I decide to lead off with Fortress because I do just have the rocks. I have Toxic, I have Protect. If he goes Garchomp, I'm clicking Toxic no matter what. He decides to lead off with a Azumarill, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? If he's Belly Drum or something like that, I just want to click Toxic. It's my best play. He goes for Waterfall. I am max defensive. This is not going to be a 2-hit KO, even if he's banded. He's in fact a Life Orb, though. That does a lot of damage for Life Orb. But I get off my Toxic right here, and now on the next turn, I could go for a Protect if I wanted to. However, I know he's not going to stay in. He doesn't want to take too much toxic damage, and he can't 2-hit KO me anyway. So what I'm just going to do right here is click my Stealth Rocks. It's my safest play, in my opinion, and just rocks on his side of the field are great because he doesn't have a spinner. He goes into Manectric right here, and right here, I know he's going to Volt Switch. I know he's not going to Flamethrower me, but it's just not worth me staying in. I have a very safe switch in the form of my Electabuzz, and if he wants to Volt Switch, it's resisted. If he Flamethrowers, I don't take a lot from it. I take like 30% from it. Turns out he does, in fact, Mega Evolve and go for the Volt Switch. So that is a thing. That is what happens. I mean, that's what I expected to have happen. So not really too concerned about that. He's going to get off the Volt Switch, and then he, I believe, is just going to make a switch out. Into what, though? I completely forget what he switched out into on this turn. That's my bad. He went into Garchomp. So he goes into Garchomp, and what does that tell me immediately? Either he is Yachi Berry, which is unlikely, or he is a Choice Scarf variant. Now, the Choice Scarf variant is the most likely variant. However, if he is, in fact, Yachi Berry, then that is a thing. Now, he clicks Dragon Claw right here, and maybe he thought I have a Pokemon on a balloon, or he thought that I was maybe the Shuka Berry. I don't know, but he clicks Dragon Claw, takes a Rocky Helmet on my Snorlax, and then he makes a switch into Piloswine, as I make a double switch into my Manaphy because the switch out was painfully obvious. He wasn't going to stay in case I had the Ice Punch. I'm going to go into Blue, and right here, I make a mediocre play. I click Sub, and it wasn't a bad play to click Substitute at all, but he has Roar, and he just kind of roars me out. So that's unfortunate. Roars me out into Pookie, though, which is my Mamoswine, which is the most important member of this team right now in this battle. And I make another misplay. I should have clicked EQ there. Would have done more damage than knockoff, and then I could have killed with knockoff later. However, I thought he'd be a physically defensive set, not especially a defensive set. And on this turn, I decided to click EQ as he goes into Bronzong. And now he's just sort of playing me a tiny bit, so I need to be careful. And right here, I need to switch. My Mamoswine is the most important offensive Pokemon on my team right now. So I switch it to Snorlax, and he goes for the trick. And my Snorlax is now not a happy camper in the slightest of bits. And I'm thinking to myself, he's not going to switch into Hitmonchan on the possibility I actually just go for an attack right here, because I am banded now. So I'm just going to go for Rest. And then I can switch out and go for Sleep Talks on the next turn. I banded Sleep Talks then. I can just do that. But he goes into Hitmonchan as I rest. And what does this mean for me, guys? It means I have to sack off a Pokemon. I have to sack something off because I don't have a switch into the Hitmonchan. And I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, I want to keep my Snorlax around. That's what I want to do. I want to keep it around. I go into my Fortress, and I'm like, you got up your rocks. You got off a Toxic on an Azumarill. You are perfectly fine to drop on this turn. He goes for Drain Punch. Don't see an item. And I'm hoping maybe he's Choice Scarfed. And we don't. Maybe he's Choice Scarfed. And that won't kill me next turn. Turns out, he goes for Fire Punch and takes me out. I exploded anyway, so I was going to die that turn anyway. But whatever. Now the Hitmonchan is in. Huge threat, but I switch into Tarzan. And I'm still trying to bluff the choice item on my Infernape. I do have the Black Belt instead, but I am trying to bluff a choice item to maybe force him into a situation where he thinks he can kill me. He goes into Piloswine right here, as I do in fact click the Close Combat. And I'm going to take out the Piloswine. So, kind of back and forth right now this game. We're kind of just taking momentum from each other just in tiny waves as of now. He's going to go into Manectric, which means he's thinking either I'm not Choice Scarfed or he's really banking on the fact that after an Intimidate, I can't do a lot of damage to him, which I don't think I can kill him after an Intimidate, but it is actually pretty close. I think it does like say 65%. I'm going to switch into Electabuzz right here as I thought about it. I was like, do I go into Mamo here? He's just going to Volt Switch. I'm like, no. What if he has Hidden Power Water? What if he has HP Water and he has HP Water and he gets a crit? And the crit's really unfortunate because now that means my Electabuzz is actually just turning into death fodder after that Volt Switch. If he didn't get the crit, I could live one more switch in and then use that to my advantage. However, I'm just going to use this opportunity to get off a slow Volt Switch against him because that's what Electabuzz does. And this matchup gets off the slow Volt Switch against the Mega Manectric. Get initiative. Gonna pull the switch out now into my Infernape. I know a Flare Blitz from that range is going to take him out. We saw earlier that he is in fact Rocky Helmet now, and we saw that he is Levitate, not Heat Proof, which means that this is just going to take him out for sure. There was no trick in his book that he could have survived that. I made sure of that right there. I got scared that he would have an Anka Berry for a second in the battle, and then I realized that he got tricked to Rocky Helmet. So that's that. He's going to go into Garchomp right now, really making me think it's Choice Scarf. He's not Yachi Berry. There's a very small chance he is Yachi Berry, and he's bluffing the Choice Scarf phenomenally, but how he's playing it, it's Choice Scarf. And right here, he's not even going to go for EQ. He's just going to click Outrage because my Steel type is gone. So this is really hinting that he's Choice Scarfed. But again, I can't be sure. And I'm just going to go for a Banded Sleep Talk right here. I could get the Whirlwind, I could get the Body Slam and do a lot of damage, but he gets a crit and kills me. So, kind of unfortunate turns of events in this game so far. Not really appreciating all the hacks that's been happening, but it's not the worst hacks in the world. I could have, for all we know, just pulled a rest on the Sleep Talk, so who knows. Right here, though, I am going to make a prediction. I'm going to go for an Earthquake right here. I know he's not going to stay in. He's confused. I have Ice Shard. And I just go for Earthquake, predicting the switch. We get a crit on the Hitmonchan. It didn't matter. I was Adamant Life Orb. It still killed. Hitmonchan is not a bulky Pokemon on the physically defensive side, at least. He's going to go into a Azumarill now, though. And I believe... is it right here? I think I sack off my Electabuzz right here because I want the Life Orb damage and I want the Toxic Recoil. And I'm going to sack off my Electabuzz right here. As I knock my mic, I'm sorry about that. So Electabuzz goes down, and he takes his Life Orb. He's going to take his Toxic damage as well, which is nice. We're gonna rack up some nice damage right there. And I'm going to switch into my Manaphy right here. Now, I didn't think he would switch out because I revealed the substitute. So I decided to play it safer and just go for Energy Ball. Turns out he's going to switch into Manectric right here, just because he wants to. Now, he has two options. He can go for either a Flamethrower or HP Water or a T-Bolt against me. And I decide to risk my Mamoswine right there as I decide to switch it in. Main thing is because I didn't want to lose my Manaphy. I thought it was very useful still. And also, if he decided to over-predict and I stayed in to sack it off, he just would have lost the game right there. So he goes for T-Bolt, though, as I switch out into my Mamo, and then I click Ice Shard, and I kill it. It was not a roll to kill it. I had a 100% chance to kill with Ice Shard from there. But he goes into a Azumarill, and this is where I'm going to pause the game, guys, because this is a huge turn right here in how this game is going to go. So he has two options right here, and I have two options. And my switch to Manaphy is so painfully obvious, predicting the Aqua Jet, and I know it's that obvious, guys. I know what he's going to click Play Rough. 90% of the time, he's going to click the Play Rough because he's not in the best position in the battle, and he needs to make a prediction like that to pull himself back. If he clicks Play Rough and he kills my Manaphy, I go into Infernape, and I either kill the Azumarill using Fake Out, or he goes into Garchomp and tries to save the Azumarill. I just lose my Infernape to Garchomp, and then my Mamoswine clicks Ice Shard against the Garchomp, kills Garchomp, and then the Azumarill against the Garchomp, or against the Mamoswine, and it's going to come down to a roll, I think. It might be in my favor. In my opinion, when I first saw the battle, I thought it'd be in my favor. But the alternative to that Play Rough play is if he clicks Play Rough and I stay in, I just win the game. Simple as that, I just win the game. If he clicks Aqua Jet and I stay in, he wins the game. So I'm not in a position where I know for I'm 90% sure he's gonna click the Play Rough. But on the 10% chance he doesn't click the Play Rough and clicks Aqua Jet, I'm not throwing the game away because of that. And I feel I have a better chance of winning the game by switching into Manaphy right here. So that is why I decide to switch into Manaphy on the Play Rough. I knew he was going to click Play Rough, guys. I just want to specify that. I did not choke a game away or something like that. I knew that this would most likely happen here. But it's just, it is what it is. He's going to be very low. And at this point, I was looking at him like, I think an Ice Shard can kill after Rocks. Or if he sacks this thing off, it's just game. So I go into Infernape right here, and I click Fake Out. It's my safest play. It's my best play. In case the Garchomp, if the Garchomp was surprise Yachi Berry, he had a chance to win here still. And that is why on the next turn, I don't click Mach Punch. For if he's a Choice Scarf set, Ice Shard just kills. If he's not Choice Scarf and he's Yachi Berry, I'm going to be able to get off the close combat damage right here. Turns out he is in fact Choice Scarfed, and he is going to be able to take us out with an Earthquake. What that means though is that I go into Mamo and I click Ice Shard, and I just kill this thing off. So that's good. 1v1 now. It's going to be a Azumarill against the Mamoswine, and I was right about it being a roll. I was also right about it being, well, I was wrong about being in my favor. It turns out it's a 60-40 roll from where he's at if I'm going to kill him in his favor with the Ice Shard at the range he's at. I click Ice Shard, and we're going to see. Is it going to kill? It does. So what that means is Monotui has in fact not lost his playoff spot, but it's not in his hands anymore. Him making playoffs is just not in his hands anymore. It's now up to Dan and Nick's game. If Dan wins, Mono's out of playoffs. If Nick wins, Dan is out of playoffs. And yeah, I'm sorry it came down to a roll, because to be completely honest, if I had gotten that Ice Shard roll and it was low, he just would have gone for Aqua Jet. He would have won the game, and it would have been 0-0. And then I would have kept my number 1 spot. That's really all I cared about at the end of the day with this. That's why I did not try to predict around the player up. I didn't want to make a bad play, just lose the game for no reason when I had the game. So yeah, guys, that is going to be it. We have officially clinched the number 1 spot in our division, clinched the playoff spot, and also just, yeah, guys. So that is going to be it for the regular season of the GBA. Season 6, guys, we did all 12 weeks. We decided to finish 8-4, I believe. Not what we wanted to do. We were hoping for 9-3, but it did not, in fact, happen. So 8-4 is still incredibly good in the most competitive GBA season yet. So, guys, that is going to be it. And until next time, guys, I'll see you at playoffs. Peace out.